Welcome to another episode of Recipe to Success. Today I'm joined by someone that I've been trying to get on for a while, and I think this can be full of value. So let's go straight into it. How you doing, bro? You okay?
I'm good, man. Finally here.
Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for inviting me, man.
So there's a lot of people that probably may have never seen you or may have never seen your brand, even though you're explosive online. So just in case, for anyone that hasn't seen you or heard of you, we'll give us a little introduction.
So, my name's Rushie. I'm kind of known in small pockets around the world by kind of like a niche sector as the online jump rope coach or the online skipping coach. So it's a brand I created about 5 or 6 years ago on YouTube. And where the brand has taken me now, I've left my full-time job. I used to be an accountant, and now I'm kind of considered as the leading kind of jump rope supplier, skipping rope supplier around the world. And we've supplied ropes to Mayweather, elite athletes, celebrities. Got a line of apparel now, created a brand out of just skipping. So teaching people skipping for free on YouTube has led to this. So it's my full-time gig now, and that's kind of like a nutshell. I hope that's enough.
You must always find it difficult saying what you do, because it's so like unique that a lot of people would probably not understand the mechanics that go into a jump rope.
It's nuts because, when I talk to people, like when I talk to like friends or family, and it's like, it kind of sometimes makes me feel a bit embarrassed because people are like, skipping coach, like, this is like, what are you up to? Like, they just think it's a joke, especially because I left like a proper job. I say proper, like a proper career. And it was quite like I was at a decent level with that career. I was moving forward, promotions, etc., going down the sort of traditional path, especially as an Asian bro. Like you know what it's like, right? To pack it all in to do this kind of skipping coaching online, Instagram influencer lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. It's weird to say. I don't think people get it.
The problem is that we're almost first generation of this, right? Like as in being, these unique businesses and using online to really leverage us. So for them, it's difficult for them to really understand.
100%.
So that's why I think for me, it's always that, don't assume that they don't really want to understand. It's just that they don't know any different. For them, these routes, accounting and all that kind of stuff is the way that you're going to be successful, and they just want you to take as less risk as possible.
No, 100%. I think with the family side, like they're just going to always want the best for you at the end of the day,
exactly.
Right? So that's always going to be there. I think that they're just worried about the future. Like, how long can you do this for? And when you tell friends and like friends of friends or someone if I bumped into you on the street and you were asking whatever reason, like, what do I do? It's just a case of it's quite interesting to know like how you can build a brand from just skipping. So that's kind of nice as well in that sense, that it's a little bit more different than just the kind of usual, I built a brand from doing, I don't know, selling something kind of normal,
basic.
Well, I don't want to say normal,
common.
I don't want to put anyone down here that's doing that one thing, right? I couldn't think of anything too fair, but someone that's just doing the usual stuff that's out there.
So we'll go into like the product itself and why you have created such a unique space in what you do. But before we get into that, I want to understand like how the last year has been for you, because I ask this question quite a lot about lockdown because people have been impacted differently, and it's always nice for other people that have been going through difficult times to understand, okay, I'm not the only one, right? But for you, I'm guessing it's actually been a positive, right?
Has, man. Like, honestly, like, it's in terms of like numbers and things like that, it's probably like quadruple the size of my business and brand. And going into the lockdown, and I'm like super grateful for it, because it's like a kind of bittersweet feeling, because I've lost family members due to COVID, which has been like absolutely like, no, it's cool, man. It's just like one of those things, like it's ups and downs for everyone, isn't it? A lot of downs and a lot of lows for many people more. So to have this as like a high and positive has been like, I'm mega grateful, because going into it, I had issues with supply. So the supply chain and everything had been cut off. People in the factories weren't allowed to go to the factories, cut down, shut down, everything. So I was a bit worried about that. And then I was also worried about like, where does it go from the stock that I've got? What's going to happen? And I wasn't completely convinced straight away that, people are going to turn to skipping. I've been telling people for 5 years now that skipping is the best thing ever, right? I've been saying it can cure everything. But then you never really know until it happens. So then when it, literally the first week of lockdown, I'd never seen anything like it. It wasn't just my website sales, my Amazon sales in America, like in different regions, just blowing up. And I started to realize, like, okay, now people really need to start working out from home. And I don't really think that logically, bruv. I'm not like, gyms are closing, so automatically I'm going to get this many sales. Like, it just happened, and I was like starting to realize as it happened. So I got lucky, and my lifestyle didn't change, because I wasn't always out and about needing to go to bars, pubs, go party. The only thing that was, like I said to you off air, was like the gym was the big issue for me, because I do just like to get out of my space and get out of the HQ for the gym to break my day up in collaborations. But otherwise, like, I was just pushing out more content from home, which is what I always did. More orders, more supplier work, and then just building up the supply chain. And I got lucky, man. Like, this, and also in fairness, like, the whole profile of skipping and the whole awareness of it, because not many people own treadmills at home or cross-training like machines and things. Like they've had to find something, and they've just found my channel, and
It was the solution.
kind of, yeah. And I think they just, everything that I was saying, like how cool it was and how it can make you feel mentally and make you feel like physically, people started to learn it on their own. Even if they didn't find my content straight away, then they were just searching for it. How do I get better at skipping? And then luckily I was popping up, and then it's like, okay, let me try this guy's ropes. Let me try this, that and the other. So we got lucky, man.
But see, I think you're being a little bit humble, because realistically, it's not luck. It's all the work that you've done over the past few years that has led you to get to this point. And obviously, a generational event like the pandemic, you can't prepare for, but you were on the positive end of it because of the work that you've done. So technically, maybe a little bit of luck, but
Yeah.
there was obviously a thought process behind the whole business itself. So how did you actually get into jump ropes? That's
Jump
what I want to
ropes,
know.
yeah.
That's probably the infamous question. Like, where did it all start?
So it started about 6 years ago. I remember I used to be well into football. Like that was my thing. Football was my thing. Like growing up, like football, right? And then it was
Who do you support?
Man United.
Yes, lovely. That's what I like to hear.
Good man. And
Sorry
we're
to
not-
all the Liverpool fans out there.
We're not actually. You know what? Every time I tell people it's Man United, I get laughed at, and like there's someone chuckling. But for once, we're doing.
We're going through a hard time, but we're getting back.
Yeah,
We're getting back.
Yeah, we're doing better than we actually think
Exactly.
we should be
Yeah,
doing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is a
100%.
good feeling. We've always just been mocked, right? Anyway, no. So that was my thing: football, and then obviously like it was nothing that I really pushed too much, but like it was my main sport. So when I was working day and night, whatever I was doing in the office, doing my usual stuff, that was what kept me fit. And going through the training of that, when I used to play in teams, it was all about running, conditioning, and that's the thing I hated. So I used to hate running in a weird way. So I was that kind of lazy footballer, but like I was decent, I was all right. But so when it came to training, I hated running. Going to the gym, I hated treadmills. So then like I just stumbled across skipping basically by going online, and I was just like, I kind of came across this Mayweather skipping video. That's pretty much how it started. And I was looking for ways of trying to keep fit and cardio and everything. And when I saw this video, I was literally engrossed, bruv. I was just like obsessed with what he was doing with this skipping rope. And I was like, I need to get a rope now. Like literally next day I got a rope, and I was trying to do what he was doing, and I was like failing miserably, right? I was like rubbish at it. And I was like, how's he make it look so easy? So then I've got this kind of, I don't know if you call it addictive personality, but I've got that personality, right? I was saying to you off air, like, it's just, if I can't do something, I'm like, I won't give up, like whatever it is. If I want to do it, I want to make sure I do it. So I went to the gym every single day, and like, I was like, I'm going to learn this. And then it got to a point where I got so like engrossed, like I said, obsessed, started to learn the moves and tricks that people started to come up to me and say, bro, where have you learned this? Like, where did you learn this? Like people that I wouldn't even speak to in the gym were just like, this looks cool. And that's when it kind of just fell into just, let me just make a video on like how I've learned, or like a little tutorial. So I posted a video on YouTube. This was 2015. And it got like 60, 70,000 views. And at the time then I was like, oh my God, this is viral. I was so gassed. I was like, this is mad. So I was like, more people need to know about this, because I started to feel so much better about myself. My mental, physical state starting to improve so much. My football starting to improve, agility, balance. I was like, everyone knows about skipping, but do they really know? I was like, let me be that guy that pushes more awareness.
Mm-hmm. And then literally just...
Well, yeah, then after video after video after video, it just became something where we created a community out of it. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I started to learn about communities, learning about how this is really impacting people. I keep touching on the mental state because I think that's becoming more apparent as well during the pandemic. But back then, where it was always about how do I lose weight fastest, you type on YouTube, how do I lose weight in 10 days, or you get all these silly, crazy videos, right? Back then it was like I started to feel so much better about myself, because working in an office 9 to 5, doing something I wasn't really enjoying, but I felt like I was going to always do it. It helped me like refresh my mind. Every day at lunchtime I was like, I just want to do this skipping thing right now, right?
Wow.
And I just would come back from the gym at lunch, having done my little session. I was like, just feel sick, like feel so much more focused, alert.
So for anyone watching or listening, what are some of the benefits other than the mental health?
Mm-hmm.
Like what are some of the things that you tell people that, look, this is why it is the best solution for you, whether a pandemic or not, but just generally in general life, why is it one of the best solutions for you personally?
Well, I could be here forever, man. This podcast would be a long time. No, but even if we bring in the pandemic, right, we've seen it, gyms are closed. Not everyone owns big cardio machines at home. Not everyone can go outside to run, weather dependent, blah, 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 safety. This thing is so small, you can take it anywhere. Business trips, you can do it from home, your garden. It sounds like I've repeated this as well because I've said it a million times, but I don't want it to sound like that. But it's not only is it super accessible, it's cheap, you can take it anywhere, but it's actually pound for pound the best cardio, because what you're doing with it as you learn moves or whatever you do, there are studies to show that kind of like a 10-minute skip is the equivalent to like a 30-minute jog.
Wow.
Yeah, like a brisk jog. So you are working your heart rate, and that's what leads to weight loss, right? You need to keep that heart rate steady or like high and keep it like a high rate. And there's not many cardios that allow you to do that. So that's one thing. The second thing is just you will see results like your cardiovascular like performance is just better. So it builds stamina and endurance. So when people go for jogs these days, you know, they've got the music in, they're maybe not even pushing themselves hard enough. Or when they're in a treadmill, imagine the sort of boredom that a lot of people go through. This keeps your
they're just following the motion of
yes,
the treadmill itself,
yeah,
as opposed
yeah,
to actually mentally breaking free from their day.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like one of those things like I need to just jump on a treadmill. I need to just, you know, I'm going to always knock to the treadmills because that's what my brand is about. So anyone that loves running out there, sorry, man. But it's one of those things that I think it allows you to not get distracted, because you're going to either slap yourself, you know, and it's going to hurt. But you want to learn stuff, right? It's like you're rewiring your brain. It's like learning a new language. So there's so many things that are so good about it. You know, you are going to get results. You're going to lose weight. The mental side of it, like I keep saying, man, like the way it releases endorphins in your body. But ultimately, man, it's just fun. Like it's literally a fun thing to do, and it's challenging, and you can take it from outside in your everyday life, because it's so hard to do, to learn these little cool moves, which I teach online, that it gives you that kind of never quit attitude, you know, that you can take into your everyday life.
And it becomes a lifestyle.
100%, man. If you see some of my community, the way people are moving with this thing, like they've taken it way beyond I could ever imagine. Some of the skills they're doing, people meeting up in little pockets around the world. Like we've got people in Philippines now, about 30, 40 people get together every Saturday just to meet up and skip. So they would have seen my channel, some of them would have seen my channel, and they would realize they'll go to their own gyms. I had someone in Australia that was in the gym using my rope, and then another person come up to them and said, oh, is that a rush rope? And they were like, yeah, and then they became friends. And it's crazy, man. Some of the stories are mad. It's really humbling, man, honestly, just from skipping.
We'll go into like how the brand has exploded, and you know, celebrities are using it, as well as people all over the world, and how that's really impacted people in their day-to-day life. But how did it turn from a hobby to an actual business? Because obviously you got 70,000 views initially, and you know, it could have just become a lifestyle business, but you really turned it into a full-fledged operation. And I think we were speaking off camera about you're a content creator, but you're an actual entrepreneur day to day. So what was there like a moment that you can remember where you thought, you know what, I'm going to take this really seriously? I'm guessing when you left employment.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But I'm sure leading up to that, you would have had moments where thinking, okay, this is it. This is something that I can really pursue.
Yeah, I mean, you get these little moments, right, as an entrepreneur yourself. You get these little, your mind never switches off, isn't it? So for me, it's kind of hard to pinpoint the time when it happened, or when I was thinking when this move's going to happen. Because there's moves happening like before we even know it's happening, right? It's happening, if that kind of makes sense. But I went through a period, right, like where I went through from football, I got injured and I had to have a double hip operation, right? Wow. So I've had both my hips like operated on to a mega extent. That's not a hip replacement, but it's like the next stage before. So I had like no cartilage and stuff, and my bones were like shattered from football because I had this, I don't want to bore you with it, but I had some bad like bones, right, basically. But that was in 2017 I had that operation. So I'd started the brand for 2 years at that point, and the brand was just video content. I hadn't monetized anything. I think the first bit I monetized was like an online skipping plan, because I wanted to be one of the first to train online skipping. So I would make these videos, store them on Google Drive, and I was like, how can I get to more people? And it would be nice to get monetized. At the point it was like free content, but I was still doing my thing, and it was the hobby. Like you said, it was the lifestyle. It was just, I enjoy this and I want to share it. And I had this operation now at 2017, 2 years into the brand, nothing's really happening, no moves really being made. I'm not even seeing the fact that I'm going to ever leave a job, full-time job or career for this. And so when I went through this operation now, I kind of had this kind of moment like, don't know if you're into music, but like this little two-pack moment where I just started recording loads of stuff. And I went into this operation and I just had like all this content that was ready to kind of come out whilst I was injured. And I never told my community what happened, what was going on with me. And I was only on about, to be fair, at this point, it sounds really small, but like I was on about 3,000 followers on YouTube. It was like a loads for me. But I didn't want to tell them, I didn't want to let them down. Where, you know, am I ever going to bring out videos? So I'm now sitting on my couch and like not able to walk now for like 2-3 months. And it was literally at that moment that I was like, I finally got some time out of work. Like, why don't I start to teach myself a few more things? So that's when I started to teach myself how to edit. I then started to think to myself, right, where can I push this, man? Like, I'm doing online skipping lessons, blah, blah, blah. Got this YouTube thing. What's going to really change the game here? And I had so many people at this point actually messaging me saying, oh, will you ever think about bringing out your own rope? Because I was pushing other people at this time. And I was going to them as well, saying, this is my plan for the future. Like, this is how I see the community growing. This is how I see cardio changing. Would you want to be, could I be an ambassador? Could I be affiliate? And everyone's like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a ridiculous, like, silly little idea you've got. We're just a boxing company that sells ropes or whatever it is. So at this point when I'm just laying on my couch now, I just got the laptop on my lap, I'm literally just now starting to search for ropes. And I'm just thinking I'm just being a bit stupid. Like, I'm like, it's just a skipping rope, right? Plastic, cheap vinyl, whatever you call it. But I thought, you know what, I want to find something good. I want to find something that's going to be good for my community, good for my people. And started getting this is getting really long, by the way, really sorry, man.
No, this is what it's all about. This
is the moment, because what I want to fast forward to is the point that actually clicked in my head is the moment when I couldn't even walk, is when I wanted to try and change the game and actually bring out this rope. So that's when I started to now search for manufacturers, start searching for graphic designers, packaging. How can I make skipping, it's not going to be Nike, but how can I make it how Nike made running? So when Nike brought out the first trainer, you know, it was all like, what the hell is this? We don't need this. Mm. So it was all about, I'm teaching these people how to use this skipping rope all this time, 2 years now injured. How can I make a demand? How can I create this demand for them to want my rope? So it was that point when I literally couldn't walk. Cut a long story short, but like from that moment, that's when I got my first samples, and I had people testing it and et cetera. And then when I could get back on my feet, that's when I launched the rope, and I said, look, this is what I'm doing now. And by this point, I had about 4,000, 5,000 followers when I launched my first rope. And it was just, we sold out in a couple of days. Wow. Like £500 investment, 2 days, 3 days sellout, which I couldn't believe, because when I bought all those ropes, I was just like, what am I going to do with all this stock? Like, it's not going to move, maybe, I don't know. So I never had massive high expectations, brother. It was just the moment that you're probably searching for is just when I was at my lowest, like mentally as well, like not thinking, like at this point I stopped playing football now. So again, that love has gone for football in a weird way, because I was like, unable to.
You also didn't have a vice, because football was your vice at once upon a time.
Yeah. So it's just, I guess the point I was trying to get at was like, it's just how did I make it into a brand? It's like it never really occurred to me to make it into a brand, but I just wanted to create a bigger demand for skipping, because I was creating this interest, but I never had this physical, tangible product to attach something to me. So that's why the rope that we created, which is now known as the money rope, obviously because it was based around Floyd. It was something
that was the inspiration.
He was the inspiration. So he's the one that made me pick up a rope. And so when we brought out the rope, when I created the rope and I tagged it the money rope, everyone sort of knew, like, this is the style. Rushie's style is based on Floyd. They know how much I love his style and love boxing, et cetera, et cetera. So when this rope came out, I'm creating all this like videos and stuff. And I never thought it'd have such a buzz. And when we sold out and then kept on selling out for the next few years, that's when I started to realize, like, okay, this is a proper worldwide brand now. Because to be honest, bro, my first launch hit 80 countries. Wow. You know, so from overnight, it's like it went into a global brand, kind of.
The power of e-commerce.
The power of YouTube, bro.
YouTube.
Yeah, 100%. Now, yeah, everything. Because we had nationalities from everywhere. Countries, I was sending things to Maldives, I was sending things to Sri Lanka. And I didn't even know these people were following me.
Because it's a product that anyone can benefit from. Yeah. It's not limited to anyone. We spoke about how much of a niche it is, you know, quote unquote niche.
It's still niche, yeah.
But it may be niche, but it's a universal product.
100%. Everyone knows what skipping rope is, right? Like, they would have done it at some point in their life, skipping in the playground, skipping. I've heard loads of things like skipping's for girls only. This is what's so cool about it, because everyone does have some sort of memory with it. But then I feel like I'm lucky and I'm blessed, because when they came and saw my channel, they were like, oh, okay, this is like another style. It's like another feel. It looks cool. I don't like the treadmill. I don't like cardio. Like, cardio is boring. And you see all these meme pages online. If you follow like gym pages, they're always knocking cardio. Like, no one likes cardio. That's the thing, right? Yeah. Bodybuilders, everyone. But when I stand in the gym around these bodybuilders, the amount of times people come up to me and they're like, geez, my bro, like, you got to teach me. I'm like, YouTube, you'll find it all there, man. And that's what's so nice about it, because it brings people in, like, even in the gym, you can go and chat to someone like who's might be skipping, and you can just be like, yo, like, where'd you learn these moves? And like, they're just happy to chat. Whereas if you're like on other machines, and it's like, you can't just walk up to someone, right?
Yeah, it becomes like a social product.
Yeah, it brings people together.
Yeah, 100%. So that was the defining moment for you per se.
Yeah.
How did it then? I mean, because obviously I'm guessing you didn't have any entrepreneurial background.
No.
So how did you learn? Because we have a lot of young viewers, and for them, I think one of the hardest things is execution, because a lot of people have an idea,
Yes.
right? And it's actually about executing the product and not only making it successful, but actually getting a start and finding the suppliers and, you know, launching the website or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you learn that?
So you know what? Like, it's one of those things, man. Like, Google's an amazing thing, right? So you're gonna find everything on Google, anything you want, right? So wherever it's products, wherever you buy it from. When it comes to execution, man, like, it's a hard one because you can create websites easily these days. You can learn about it. YouTube, again, is probably the best thing that's ever happened to anyone who's starting brands these days, because I'm sure they would have learned how to edit, learn how to do anything, like even things around the house. You can learn everything, obviously, on YouTube.
If you're willing to put in the time.
Exactly. So I was just going to come on to that. You're right. Like, execution comes from the person as well. So it's not a thing that you can write on paper and pass it to someone and say, that's your plan of execution. It's like, we'll probably mention a few times in this podcast, like, I've got a bit of a weird, crazy personality. Like, once you get to know me, I could be annoying as a friend, as a close friend, because I'm that guy that's just like, no, we're not quitting. Like, we're not going to do that. So, like, when it came to execution, it's just, I enjoyed doing something. So maybe if you want some tips or something for the younger viewers, like, they got to love what they do, right? If they're learning, we talked about the trading thing and stuff like that. If they just see someone doing something cool and they try and get into it and they don't have a real love or passion for it, I'm not going to say it's going to fail, but like, it's a stumbling block already, because I loved what I was already doing and I didn't need to get paid for it to keep loving it. You know, I loved it. So even when I go back to work in the office, I love talking about it. I love telling people, like, oh, you know, have you tried skipping? Because I'm doing this thing and it's sick. So I already was in that space. So when it comes to executing on your idea, you got to freaking love it. Secondly, like, it takes time to learn, right? Just, you got to have that personality. I think it's just, learning how to edit, learning how to make websites. I only had one product. So it was like, I was able to learn how to make a website with just one product. So I had Squarespace. And again, that was just all YouTube. I used Fiverr. You would probably know Fiverr, to get like mock-up of logos and things like that. But ultimately, bruv, like, I was backed by a community who trusted my methods, who trusted where I was going with this. So I didn't have to ever go in with any hard sells. And it is hard to sell something like a skipping rope, because like even Callum was saying, we're gonna big up Callum here on the podcast. He's got himself a skipping rope from wherever he said he was. So everyone can get it from anywhere. Why do they need my rope? But I had a online presence and a community who trusted what I was saying. And like, I think when you start a brand or start a business from home, you gotta love it. You gotta put in the time and effort, obviously. But I feel like the community side, if that's where your brand kind of goes, like, you gotta have a love for making impact or providing value for people.
But I think the beautiful thing about your story is that you were giving out value before you even launched a product.
100%. Yeah.
You were creating videos, you had built a community, and then you thought about monetizing it. Whereas a lot of people work backwards and they think, okay, what do I need to do in order to monetize?
Yeah.
And then it's not as authentic. Whereas you were just going as you went along, and people really resonated with you because you were genuinely a fan of your own product.
Yeah.
So it was easy for them to buy.
No, yeah, lucky. I think when I try and share my plan and execution plan and things like building the brand, it's tough to do it like that. I think, because what I'm trying to do is, you know, if I pick up a product and say, like, do you want to buy this? Like, and you've seen this product a million times, but you haven't bought it before, like, you're not gonna probably buy it. But here now, I've picked up this skipping rope, and people have seen it, but they're not seeing how they could use it. So I've basically created the demand, the market, and then said, wait a second, and then boom, 1 rope, 2 ropes. This is a good rope. This is a good rope. And then they're like, we want more. We want more. So I got lucky in that sense. I don't think there's many. There's other things you can use that around. You can bring back products to life from before, back in the days and stuff. But nowadays it's tough. Nowadays people are looking at stats. They're going on Amazon. What's the biggest seller for the month? Oh, it's like a fidget spinner or something. Let me go source one, and let's wait until that dies out. Let me buy another. So it's hard. Business can be hard, man. I think, like I said, with my style, it's community first. Once you build community and do it for the right reason, and if you follow the Instagram and stuff, like, I'm all about providing that value first, and then they're happy to support. And I've got an amazing community, man. I don't think I'll be able to do this without the people that follow me.
100%. You said something that really stuck in my head, and you said something along the lines of, even if you weren't getting paid for it, you would continue. And that is amazing, because there's a lot of people, they go into business for the money, especially in this day and age, because we're bombarded with success as a metric. And a lot of the time we forget that there's a product or service that we have to provide, and we have to actually be making a difference. So talk on that a little bit about your experience in seeing people perhaps not have a real love for their product, and how that's led to their demise, or just in your experience having the love for the product, why that is so much better.
So I think it goes back to sort of business 101, right? Like if you're trying to sell something, you're naturally always going to probably sell it better if you really believe in the product, right? If you believe in like what you're doing and what you're trying to sell. You're right what you say, man, with the success. Like the metrics are getting a bit hazy these days, and now with social media it's about following, and it's about, let me just try and push something out just for the sake of like making money. I just keep going back to the repeating as well. Like I think like if you have a genuine love for what you're trying to do and you love it doing it yourself, like good things will happen, but it could take like a long time. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize, is that they need to have that patience. And it's so cliche entrepreneur talk, right? Like it's even hearing myself say it, I've heard so many other people say it, but I only believed it like when I think about it now, because it's 6 years now. You know, when I always think like it's yesterday, but I've been doing it 6 years, and it took me nearly 18 months to get 1,000 followers. It nearly took me 3 years to get 20,000 followers. And now the 6th year, I'm only just broken 100K on YouTube, 100K on Insta. So like, if someone told me 6 years ago, bruv, this could take you this long, 6 years, I'd be like, oh my days. But because I was in it every single day, just doing it and loving it, then there's no real hard sell ever. You never feel like you having to do it. I got lucky because that wasn't my only source of income, because I wasn't monetizing for a long time. So when people jump into it, like I need to make money, I feel like for advice, like whatever their current job is, whether it be like admin, clerk, office, whatever, to make that their number one investor for this side hustle or the hobby. And that's what I did. So everything that was coming in. So I worked for a whole year in my office job after I sold that first product. So since I started selling ropes, I was in the office for a year. And in that year, everything that I earned, everything I could, and I obviously had to save for bills and everything else, everything that I earned went straight back into better equipment, more stock. Then the profits went back into stock. Everything went back into the business. You know, there's sacrificed a lot, bruv.
And that's for me, that is something that really resonates with me, because reinvesting and holding your own pocket is something that is not really spoken about much. It's almost as this fantasy, you go into business and you're going to be rich
making
overnight.
Money, yeah.
And even if it's not overnight, and people are actually genuinely, they understand that it does take time, they still don't understand how much sacrifice really goes in. And so it's amazing that you said that, because patience really is underrated in business.
Oh mate, mega. Patience, lack of sleep.
You hear it, like be patient, but you don't actually understand.
No, you don't understand it. I don't think you understand it. And I was telling you before, like how I'd set a goal to like 3 videos a week, right, when I was working. And that 3 videos was because I knew the importance of being consistent. You know, it wasn't just like, oh, let me just get a video when I get a video. Like I'm just a bit busy this week. Like literally, like it was no more after work shisha or something, or like, you know, meeting the friends on the weekend. It was like, no, sorry, bro. Like I've got to come home to record. I was recording my shirt and tie if I had to. I'll just not even waste any time. Didn't want to miss the light or something. So like those little small things, when people are building brands and they're seeing other like Instagram people or however they're building their brands, they just think it's like such an easy road, I feel sometimes. And now I was telling you as well, like other people are building their own rope brands offline here as well. So we're getting not only a community, but we're also building this market for skipping. So before people would just go to anywhere to find a skipping rope, go to a boxing shop. Now people are starting to see this as like a business where they can actually move forward with themselves. So there's other people creating side hustles as well, which is nice, because they all used to be followers of mine, and a lot of them are hustling as well on the side. They're doing skipping online training, they're doing their YouTube channels, and it actually helps my brand as well, because they're getting more and more people involved. And then naturally they'll probably come and find me as well at some point. You've
created competition for yourself, but it's
almost what I wanted.
It's almost what you like.
It's what I wanted,
because it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, keeps me on my toes. And not only that, like I had this dream of making skipping as big as running and cycle. I keep coming back to running, because when you go into like Nike, Adidas, and they got their sections of trainers, what are you going to find? Running.
Yeah.
You're going to find this, you're going to find this, because they know that that's the most powerful forms of cardio that people are doing. So they're building products around that. my dream anyway, whether it happens or not, is walking into Nike, and Nike are like, boom, this is skipping, and they've got like Cristiano Ronaldo, LeBron James, or whoever their sponsored athletes are, like, you know, doing like a video or something, and they've got their lines of ropes. Will it affect my business? Obviously, because then people are going to be buying Nike, but they're going to raise the profile of it, and millions and more people will be getting involved. And then what's the first thing they're going to want to do? They're going to go on YouTube and be like, how do I skip? And who they're going to find? And I've been doing this. I hope so. That'll be a waste, isn't it? But yeah, that's the idea, right? And then they find me, and then it just helps everyone. Mm-hmm. So I want brands, I want bigger brands to get involved. I want other brands, like, because I feel like I'm not the only one. There's a few other big players in the market as well. But when I started this venture and brand, I was like the first personal branded dude to put their face on the packaging and the ropes and like go down that route, you know. And people have heard the story and they've realized anything is possible, man. If this guy can make a business and leave his job for a skipping rope, then I can start doing something on one of my hobbies and make it work as well. Mm-hmm. I think that's the main thing.
Let's talk about your job and the process of leaving work, because I think this is also something that's not really spoken about, is the transition between employment and being an employee and becoming an employer.
Yeah.
And I think for me personally, from my own journey, I realized that there was a lot of behavioral changes that had to be made, because when you're working somewhere, you're so caught up in getting paid every single month, or okay, regardless, I'm going to get paid. Mm-hmm. And your lifestyle revolves around that. Whereas in a business, it works completely different. There's months where you may not be able to take anything out. There's long periods of time where you may not be able to take anything out. And so your whole behavior, your whole patterns have to change. Mm-hmm. So what was that process like for you?
So work, I think it's such a blur, bruv.
You had to take a deep breath because it was work. Like
it just reminds me back to you know when I think about work is like I went through a period in my life like where, you know, I started working, when was I, like 21, 22. So I came out of university, got myself a decent enough job as an economist in the government, and then there was something about that job that was just like, I don't want to do this already. And it wasn't because I was lazy. It just was like, I don't know if I'm on the right path here. So I had a little bit of an inkling then at 22, and I packed up and went to Argentina. Like I took a one-way flight to Argentina because I was just interested in learning a language and traveling a little bit, playing football, and I saved up a bit of money when I was working in that government role to do that. And when I worked in Argentina as a school assistant type of voluntary type of work, I was like, oh, man, like I kind of like the feeling of helping people at this point. So this is 22, 23. I was like, I can't pack in my job to do this. Like, it's not sustainable. So when I came back and fell into this accounting role, it was like I was doing this for 7, 8 years, and you get into this rut, man. You get into this, like I did anyway, where you walking into work like it's like the Matrix. You know, you're just like same old routine. You're in that little herd of people down London Bridge every day, missing trains, cancelled trains.
Something we miss now, considering people are just not on the streets anymore.
And the transition, going back to your point, like it's tough, man. Like it brings back good and bad memories, because I was in a bad place at one point where you have that feeling where you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, but the time's not right, the time is not right. So it brings me back to a point where I was just so motivated when I started this. Again, I never thought I'd leave a job to do this, but it got to a point where when the side hustle was taking over my life too much now. So I was coming home and then I was working till 2, 3 in the morning, getting orders out, customer service, content, editing. You know what it's like here. You get consumed, and then you've got questions from all over the world. What's going on with their delivery? Questions on, you know, how could they, this, that, and the other video. So like, it just got to a point where like that transition is tough, because if you've got bills and you've got family to sustain, you've got whatever, it goes back to another thing. Like you don't really know when the right time is. Probably when people tell you like, I'm not ready to be a father, and then they have the kid, they're like, yeah, that's when I knew. Like, transition from the job to this full time is probably a personal thing, man. I think no one really knows when the right time is.
Sometimes you have to just take that risk.
Yeah.
And take the jump.
Yeah, take the leap of faith, man. Mine came because I was at breaking point. Like, as in, I couldn't physically
go to work.
I couldn't, like, yeah, literally, I was like a zombie at this point going into work, and I couldn't sustain. Like, I couldn't like function, you know. And then I knew that I was leaving a job where I was taking a pay cut of like something ridiculous, but you lose the pension, stability, the comfort, even that routine. People crave routine, right? I knew the first day, I remember I vlogged it on YouTube. I have to watch that again sometime soon because it was the randomest day. So I thought, let me record the day I'm sort of free from the office. I've never been so shook, man. I was so scared because I was like, I woke up and I was like, okay, what do I do, man? Like, I can start recording if I want. I can do a YouTube video. I can flip in, do anything, yeah? And I just had the whole day, and it got to like 4 o'clock and I felt like I'd done nothing. And then I was like, oh, what have I done, man? Like, I'm going to have to like pray this thing works out. But luckily, the time that it gave me, obviously, then I started pumping out more and more content, had more time to focus on the stuff I needed to focus on. So developing new ropes, developing apparel. So we started to up the apparel game, started to push different types of lines of things. So we don't even just do skipping ropes now. We do massage guns. We even dabbled in headphones, workout mats.
Because you've created a brand.
Yeah, luckily enough. And like I said, it always comes back to Nike. Nike's one of my favorite brands. And so the story of Nike I've loved from day one. Like, I know they've done some weird things and whatever, but the way that they started, like I said, with running and what they did with that, I want to try and emulate that, but in my own way, and be the guy that hopefully like change cardio for the better in a certain way. Because I knew so many people around the world were feeling the same as me. I knew that so many people didn't like going on the treadmill, and as much as they go out for runs and they're like, yeah, I'm just going out for my run, I knew they didn't like it. It's just that was the only thing they knew. So now when they get a rope and they go into the gym, they're like, let's walk past this treadmill, let's find our little space and let's get some bossy moves out. And then they message me and they're like, bro, like literally, like, you changed my life, man. I've lost like 20 kilos. I've done this, I've done that, you know. And that's the reason why I do this. I don't even watch, to be fair, I don't even watch too much the sales. I don't even watch too much the future. So like in terms of entrepreneurship, I'm probably not the most typical guy that you'll bring on the show who has it mapped out, who has 5-year plans, 10-year plans, because for sure I don't. But what I do know is that like I'm looking to break and create a new market, break open a market of fitness that's never been seen before. So that's.
But see, you know, that's really interesting what you just said, is that you're not the typical entrepreneur. But that's one of the reasons why I started this show, because for me, we are now living in a time where entrepreneurship is not one way or one right way. And some of the behaviors that we are creating now, we won't know the impacts of it until next generation. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, if we look at a lot of the entrepreneurs' habits, you know, over the past 20, 30 years, you know, the entrepreneurs, typical entrepreneurs that we look at, a lot of them, they didn't grow up how we did. Mm-hmm. So a lot of their behaviors are different, and therefore their thought process is also different. Yeah. So we won't know, like, a simple behavior like the discipline of how to manage your day, or, you know, the importance of the gym, because for you and I think fitness is important. Mm-hmm. But there are probably entrepreneurs out there that maybe fitness is not important and they're running multi-million-pound companies.
Exactly.
So I think the narrative of one way fits all is no longer relevant, and so adapting, understanding who you are in your journey of entrepreneurship is the beauty of it now. Is that you can work from home, you can wake up at whatever time, you can, you know. You
mentioned that, man. I've tried this 5 a.m. thing before. It's hard, man. I'm not that guy, man. I tried to be the entrepreneur that's like, yeah, 5 a.m. wake up, man. Gym by 6 a.m. Man, I'm going to sleep near enough 5 a.m.
It's crazy, because literally there is really no. I mean, obviously from a scientific point of view, there is a right and wrong answer, I guess. But in terms of our individual behavior, if we're working better at night and we're getting things done, really, is there anything wrong with that? I mean, because we're getting the work done. Yeah. So I think it's more about understanding yourself.
No, I get that. I think we need to look after our mental state, though, because sometimes, I don't know about you, but like my mind is overdrive now. Like, it's never been like this before. I mean, it feels like it's been years now, but like recently, even more than ever, like I've just got idea after idea after idea. I'm thinking like, this is gonna be my next video. This is gonna like, and it's weird because it does become consuming. That's what entrepreneurship is, though, isn't it? It just consumes your life. Mm-hmm. It's like a way of life. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can switch off.
100%, and that is literally so true, because you're always thinking about what to do next, and you literally cannot put, like, if there was a button, you'd press it, but you can't. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that when you really love what you do, it's not difficult to live in that life where you are always thinking about business, because it doesn't feel like pressure. Yeah. It just feels like you're doing what you love.
That's the thing, man. And I think where I'm also lucky with this whole thing is that I'm doing something I love, obviously with skipping and things like that, it impacts lives at the same time, and then it kind of bounces back. So it's like my work is kind of getting out there to the world, but not only that, like it is making a difference. So and it's literally my job as well. So it's like it's my job is to just I guess help people change their lives, which is a nice feeling. I don't think a lot of people get a chance to say that. So I'm quite fortunate in that sense. It's not like I'm just selling a product that people just, you know, have whatever, do something with at home or something. But so it's a different type of life at the moment because I'm a personal brand at the same time. It's like it's more interesting for me. At the same time, it's sometimes I've got to be careful as well, because then I don't get that same privacy that most people might have as well. So some entrepreneurs could go into the office, do the hustle, do their work, go home and still do the hustle, but like it's kind of sheltered, like it's not seen. With my stuff, the business is intertwined with what I do. So a simple story and me doing something, you know, going to the golf range and things like that, is for some reason people find it interesting, luckily enough. But it ties into, you know, with the vlogs and stuff that I do, that people have come up with me with the brand. So I feel like they're on the journey with me, and they want to know more about what I'm doing behind the scenes.
Because they want to follow your behavior, your day to day, and they want to see the value in that. I'm guessing.
Yeah, luckily. It's weird. I'm not that interesting. It's just work 24/7, man.
So let's talk about your discipline, because you went from doing a 9 to 5, and it's a very disciplined environment. You know, you have to be somewhere at 9 o'clock, and you're going to leave at a certain time, and everything else revolves around those hours. What was it like when you then dived into? Because I know you mentioned you woke up and you felt like you could do anything, and you could film a video and you could do whatever you want. How did you then try to ensure that you had a level of discipline? Because being an entrepreneur, you have to have accountability for yourself.
100%.
Because no one's going to tell you to do this or, you know, get this done. It's down on you, and the work that you do is what's going to lead to your success. So let's talk about that in terms of discipline.
Yeah, so I'm be honest, man, like I'm not the most organized person. I'm not that guy that has the little diary. And if you look at my phone diary, like, you know, I put this podcast in, but otherwise, like, I won't have anything else on Monday, but I've got like loads of things happening and I don't even know what's going on. So I'm bad with my organization skills. I need a PA. So if there's anyone watching, I'm looking for a PA. But that side is something that I've never been good at. I was that guy, you go to work and everyone's got a clean desk, and I've just got like notes everywhere. And so my mind just works like this. So
I feel like you're a very visual person.
I think I am. I haven't looked into myself too much, but to know it, or no one's really like done a little psych assessment. But like I probably am a bit of a visual person, so I don't do the like methodical, logical. Like, let me write a list. I barely get a list done. When I start a list, like that list is redundant. Like straight away, like I'm already writing another list for some reason, and then I'm like, oh, when did I write this list? So like I don't work like that. But the discipline comes from like somewhere in here. Like I remember stuff, random stuff, and I'm just like, all right, every single day is content for me, okay? Like if I'm not putting out content, I'm not working. If I'm not, it sounds bad, but if I'm not on my phone, I'm not working. And everyone talks about like, people on the phone for too long and blah, 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 blah. It's just the same as a computer. So like when people go to the office on the computer all day, like for me, that's just the same as me being on my phone all day. And obviously that's all I got like bad eyes.
But again, you see like the whole phone comparison. Yeah. It's again, we're first generation.
Exactly.
We grew into it, and so the people that are telling us it's not good are people that didn't grow into it. So, for example, if I was to have kids tomorrow, I would not really deter them from using technology, because if they don't, they're gonna have a disadvantage, because all their peers, they've already been using technology for a few years. Yeah. So it's like balancing, you know, the old school. The old school things that we used to do, like playing outside, is much better, but we don't really know, because they could actually turn out to be some genius, and it's because of the technology.
We don't know. You're right. I think that it's phones, social media, YouTube. Like I will never knock it. And when people say to me, "Oh, there's so much stuff, crap, rubbish on social media, all these influencers, all this like naked bodies, blah blah blah," I always say the same thing to them. I'm like, if they're on your feed, then as in you're following them, that's your fault, first of all. Don't follow them. And if you're consuming it enough to not like it, then you're obviously taking too long on their posts, because you just scroll past. So like there are people that love to judge other people the way they work on social media. I've seen all the good. There are bads of it, obviously. There's obviously people like that leaving racist comments, hate comments, whatever it may be. My point being with all this is that when I wake up in the morning, I've got a little bit of a structure. So I've got my videographer who comes in 2 days a week. I've got my graphic designer who works a day and a half. So we have in plans already what needs to be done. So we've got the launches, apparel, we get the design work. So all that stuff's kind of ticking over in the background, checking the materials, samples, etc. But for me personally, it's all about, I need to remember where the roots were. And the roots were always tutorials. It was always about, how do I teach someone how to use the simplest rope, how to get the most out of it, how to help them with their cardio tricks, etc. So I've got that already in place. And that's where the discipline for me is weird, because it doesn't feel like work. That for me is, I want to do it. That's the easy part. The hard part, which is where I need the discipline, is managing to focus on the customer service side, like to give myself time to do all of that, make sure that I'm starting to build the foundations in place for when this brand becomes a proper brand. Because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to employ people. So everything's done from home, everything's done from my HQ, which is an annex. And I've been fortunate to redo that whole place up during the pandemic. So we invested some money to make that into a proper studio, and to make it more organized, etc., etc. But my plan is to create this warehouse, or this kind of like mega place for where we do our packaging, where we get the orders out, because right now we're kind of outgrowing that space already now. So the discipline is from putting time to step away from always the content and actually put time into then start to focus on the future. Because I want employees, I want HR, I want that kind of feeling that this was the first skipping brand on the planet, like that, done it the right way.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you knock yourself a little bit, but I think your behavior is really just being an innovator, and you're creating, like you said, a market. So there is no right or wrong answer. And so some of the things that you look at entrepreneurs generally do is working for you. So it's fantastic. Yeah. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see your journey and how Rush Athletics just gets to the next level. And going on to the latest launch, let's talk about that and some of the things that you've got going on.
Nice one. So
plug yourself, basically.
Yeah. Got a nice little plug there. Yeah. So we create ropes, right? And every rope has its own character. Like I was saying to you off air, man. Like the money rope has this way of becoming. It was the first ever Rush rope, the first ever rope for Rush Athletics. So people really feel close to that rope. It's like loved. And the fact that we were able to put that rope into the hands of Floyd a couple of years ago was like probably the best thing that's ever happened for this brand.
Let's talk about that briefly, because you started skipping because you watched a video of Floyd and you manifested it, and it came, and it happened in real life.
It was the maddest thing.
So
it was like life went 360.
How did it happen?
Circle. So like it was just, so we mate, so we're going from 2015, I just watched this video, into videos after videos after videos, and then that first rope came out, and then it just so happened that this rope just found its way around the world. Like I said, like we were shipping everywhere. Started to put it into Amazon, started to put it into like different warehouses around the world, and it fell into the hands of a trainer who works with Mayweather in his boxing gym. And I never knew that this trainer was ever following me, why he would buy this rope. But then I just got a DM one day on my Insta, and it was like, "Hey bro, like love your products. I've got a video with Floyd using your rope. Like I'll send it shortly." And I was like, "Nah, no way, yeah." And then lo and behold, man, he sent this video through. It was Floyd with the rope, took pictures, everything. And it, like, the dream had happened, because I always, funny enough actually, like the first ever rope I sent out was to Floyd. So I have a picture on my phone. It's proper strange, but like I sent, when I got my first rope, packaged it, I went on Google and like just literally got his address from like the boxing gym anyway, not his home address. And I sent that rope out to his boxing gym and like never heard anything of it. I just one day thought he might like take a video and I might be able to like, be like, that's my rope. But that's what was so weird, because he's not like an idol for me, I guess, as a person. Like, Floyd is like, he's like a scale, in it. Like some people either this way, that way with him.
You either love him or hate him.
Exactly. For me, it was like his work ethic is what engages me with him, or like is what I rate about him the most. Is like he's a pure winner. I love the whole mental side of him. Obviously his boxing skills are like outrageous, but the fact that he got me to pick this thing up, and then I created this community, it kind of, I guess, lighted this little fire up in me to create videos and content, and then build a community. And then that community was so kind enough to get me to keep growing to the point where he got hold of it. It was just next level. So that's the money rope. I'm going really slow here, bro. Sorry. But then we brought out the legacy rope, which then had the story of like, that was the rope when I started to think about quitting my full-time job. So people were watching this story unfold, and I was like, this is where I want my legacy to go. This is what I want to happen. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be known when I walk on the street, but I just don't want to be forgotten, like, for the work I've done. So that rope had really good connotations, really good positive vibes, and it became like an amazing rope for us. And then we had another rope called the Icon rope, which was about expressing yourself and becoming this figure, like it's a freestyle rope basically. So this is where people are throwing the ropes and throwing their handles and doing fancy stuff. So they all have their little names and little features. And then the next one, which is coming out next week, is called the Ignite rope. And that is all about igniting your passion, it's about igniting your workouts, and it's just a beast of a rope. So you can change the cables. So you've got 3 cables, 3 different weights. It's got a little mechanism so you can unclip it, clip it really quickly. It's got hand stitched wraps on the handles. Like, a lot of work's gone into that. So that's it's just really exciting. So every promo, every video, the way we look at campaigning things is on the levels of how I would imagine something like a Nike or Under Armour to do, and I'm just trying to do it for skipping.
And it's a real story.
It's real.
Behind every
it's
product.
real, yeah, man. It's real, man. I wanna just share with you that literally, like, with skipping, wherever it's skipping, whether it's something else, maybe you have a hobby in, I don't know, Smurfs or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, it's people knock themselves down because they sometimes think it's too ridiculous. They think their idea is too crazy, or they think it's too stupid, or like they're worried what other people think. And I think I didn't really share it earlier, but like, I never once felt that. Like, I had people laughing at me. I have a friend who I'm going to probably show this podcast to, but even he was saying to me at the time, he's like, Rush, like, this skipping stuff you're doing, like, you're going to leave your job for this? Like, are you serious, like, about it? Because he was worried about me. Like, because I was so tunnel vision to think that I could do something with this, that he thought I was going to pack it all in, which I ended up doing anyway. But he thought at the time, he was like, just, you know, you're doing all right now, right? Your job, you know what I mean? You've got a good job. He took me to the side and he was really serious about it. And I laughed at him and I was like, bro, like, you actually think I'm going to quit my job for this? Like, just relax. I'm just like enjoying it. But now when I talk to him about it, I'm like, bro, do you remember that conversation we had? And if I was that type of guy that was like remembering these little casual conversations you have with friends and worried about what people think, it can stop you in your tracks before anything good can happen. And it took 3 years, nearly 4, for good things to happen for me. So I think whether it's skipping, whether it's something random as hell, like, I think you can make it work. It just depends on whether or not you're able to like block everyone out around you.
It starts with like self-belief and then silencing the noise around you.
100%.
Because even the good opinions and the bad opinions, like me personally, I have the belief that you can't gravitate towards the love or the hate. Just stay neutral. Just focus on what you're doing. Because if you gravitate towards the love too much, you're going to get lost.
That's true.
You're going to get caught up.
That's
and
true.
then if you gravitate towards the hate, you're going to fall off.
Yeah.
So I just try to stay neutral. And that's why I'm grateful, like, even to create a podcast like this, and we get so much support, but I really just try to stay neutral because I don't want to get caught up in it. I just want to keep putting out content, keep putting out value. And for me, that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
More than any of the recognition.
Do you get a lot of hate?
No, you know what? I actually don't get that much hate. I get a lot of support, but I think in business you do get hate, and you get hate of competitors, you get hate in loads of different contexts, but it's just about being, like you said, tunnel vision, because the voices around you will always distract you. And if you are really focused on what you're trying to do and understand what you're doing is unique and you have that inner belief, you'll get there. That's my belief anyway.
No, it works.
Bro, I could sit here and literally talk to you all day.
Mate, thank you.
I think we have so much in common, and it was literally so fun to just go through. I'm sure we'll probably get a lot of requests to do another episode, maybe a little bit more detailed.
I hope so.
But we'll definitely go into that. But for now, let's end the episode with a little bit of fun. So we've got something called the rapid fire questions. So
yeah, surprised me with a little something.
So we
didn't go through this at the beginning, bro.
Yeah, I know. I had to throw this on you.
Yeah,
you know?
I like it.
Because I want it to be real. I want it to be authentic. But this is literally just answering questions as quickly as possible.
Okay.
We call it the rapid fire, and it's just for a chance for people to really see who Rushie is and behind the sunglasses, who you are.
I didn't even mention that. Yeah, I wish I could bring the sunglasses on. Man.
People are gonna go on your Instagram now and be like, he's wearing sunglasses a lot, and he lives in London.
I'm just used to these panda eyes, man.
All right, cool. You ready?
Ready.
Let's go. So as quick as you can.
All right.
Night in or night out?
Night in.
Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Money or love?
Love.
Laundry or dishes?
Laundry.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Your favorite city in the world?
Buenos Aires.
Nice car or nice home?
Nice home.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
That's your platform. That's right.
Yeah. Can't knock YouTube. Yeah.
AJ or Fury?
That's tough, man. I'm an AJ fan, to be fair. I'm an AJ fan. But what's this? Is it who I think's going to win?
This is just your personal preference.
I'm starting to like Fury, but yeah, I've got to back AJ.
If it was down to the fight, who would you say?
Oh, I've got to say Fury at this moment.
You reckon?
I think so. I think so.
Ronaldo or Messi? What about that?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Oh, bruv. Messi.
What's your favourite supercar?
Favorite supercar? It's not out yet, but Tesla Roadster.
Horror or comedy movie?
Old school horror.
When you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
Playing golf.
All-time favourite meal?
Say again?
All-time favourite meal?
All-time favourite? Oh, it's just Domino's Pizza, man.
What was your first job? I'm guessing the...
Domino's Pizza.
Oh, that was... No way, we missed that part of the story.
I'm laughing because that's a good question after that one. Yeah.
Where would you like to retire?
Where would I like to retire? That's an amazing question. Somewhere that has a good golf course, maybe Hawaii.
You're really into this golf?
Yeah, man. It's very good. Very good for the mind, man. Just get rid of distraction.
Passenger or driver?
Passenger.
Role model growing up?
Oh, that's a good one, man. Role model growing up.
Floyd Mayweather. Well, maybe
Not
just
even
in the
growing up,
boxing
yeah.
context.
I think when it comes to football, like I'm gonna have to think of like loads of legends, man. Let's go with to be honest with you, I don't.
You can't say Ronaldo now because you picked Messi.
No, I've never really had a. I think big Ronaldo, like old school Ronaldo, was a good fan favorite for me, man.
Cool. And lastly, if you had one superpower, what would it be and why?
Superpower have to be ability to change time, turn back time, go back in time. Yeah, man.
Perfect. Smashed it.
That was good.
I like
man.
that one.
That was good.
I got you thinking a little bit.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. I enjoyed it.
I'm surprised you said Messi, being a United fan.
Yeah, I love Ronaldo. Again, with Ronaldo, it's his work ethic, and like you can tell he was probably not gifted like Messi, but like flipping, he works like a machine, don't he? But if I had to make a team, Messi would be in that team ahead of Ronaldo at this moment.
Makes sense. Rushie, it's been an honor.
Oh, thank you.
For anyone that has fallen in love with your story, maybe they want to get the new skipping rope, maybe they just want to support you. What's the best place for them to follow you?
Best place, any social media platform, I guess Instagram, usual ones in it, YouTube. Just type in Rush Athletics, type in skipping.
We'll put all the links in the description anyway.
Yeah, that's nice of you, man. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, I just want to ask you one thing, which, I think is so interesting how social media really escalated your brand, and it is because of YouTube and social media that you have a brand.
Mm-hmm.
So how important has that been for you, and what would you advise people that are maybe not as active on social media for their business? What do you what would you recommend?
Oh mate, 100%. Like there's two things, right? If you're kind of like an introvert, there are ways around social media. You don't have to always be on the camera and do it that way. But I would say, like, if you're comfortable to start talking on camera and getting out there, YouTube is not underrated because everyone knows how powerful YouTube is. But I still feel that the newbies out there, people listening, they're still loving their Instagram, the TikToks and everything. But YouTube is so, like, it's boss. When it comes to growing real brand, people are coming to the platform to learn or find something. They're typing it in. Obviously, you get all like things coming up on the search and stuff, but YouTube is where people came, they consumed, they watched proper long form content of mine and got to know me. Whereas on Insta, I think I would never have built this brand if I just started on Insta. That said, like, you have to move with the time, so I've got like a different type of style for Insta, different type of style for TikTok. But anyone coming on right now trying to learn, become, build a brand, like I said before, man, community. Like, you got to put out content that either entertains, makes someone laugh, smile, whatever it is, provides value, provides business advice, the stuff that you're doing, provides social media advice. You have to give something. You can't come across like you're doing it for money. You can't do it like you're just trying to become famous for views, likes, blah blah blah. So you got to use social media very carefully. But once you know how to use it, man, you're gonna be winning.
Perfect. Hopefully everyone listening and watching can follow your footsteps and create some of the brands for the future.
100%.
Thank you for coming on, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Enjoyed it.
Thank you for everyone for watching and listening. Be sure to subscribe and support the platform.